Yeah. So we are live right now on World Read Aloud Day 2023 with my favorite author, Tori Maldonado, aka Jerry, the writer's craft. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm good. I wish I was Tori Maldonado. That's a good looking guy.
He is. He's
Very
really
talented
handsome.
too.
I mean, I wore my hat because I didn't want to, I get confused for you a lot.
Yeah.
So I wore my hat, and I tell people all the time, I am not Jerry Craft. I actually have two Newberries. He only has one.
Only have
So,
one.
you know, there is that.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. Yeah, I get confused for you all the time too. And then I show my ID, and then security usually lets me go. And I just go about my business. So I get it. I definitely get it.
Jerry, it's snowing here in Virginia. What's the weather like where you are?
84 degrees in Orlando.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Just working outside in the backyard. Just saying.
You doing domestic work, Jerry?
No, typing, working on the next big thing. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm working on it.
Oh, that's right, because your writing studio is in your backyard, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the annex. I got the studio and then I got the annex so I can sit and write with the palm trees.
So people, before we get into this real serious talk, I've been at Jerry's writings, art, illustrator, artist studio, and it's literally like, it's like a mansion. Like he has this very small house, but his studio is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need living space. It's just workspace.
I lost my voice, as you know. So I'm glad you're here because we're gonna all hear your voice shortly. But before we get into that, Jerry, you and I had the distinct pleasure, or at least I did. I don't know if you did, I hope you did, of speaking to Amina Dawson, who won the Newbery for Free Water.
I did. I called her yesterday. Yeah, I did. And she said she had spoken to Meg Medina, fellow Newbery winner Meg Medina, and she thought that she was speaking to Kwame Alexander. And I corrected her and said that she was actually talking to you. She was a little disappointed, but very proud of her. It's amazing.
It is. It's pretty incredible. I mean, she lives maybe 20 minutes from me.
Yeah.
And I think when you think of the significance of what we're talking about today, this idea of reading strong, of making sure all the books are available to all the kids because all the stories matter. It's interesting that you have these three Black writers, these three Black Americans who are 3 of 6 Black writers who won the Newbery Medal.
Out of like 102 or something like that, which is pretty amazing
too.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a compliment. I didn't know you that well when I won, and you called me, and I realized that having the medal, with great power comes great responsibility, and showing some class, and knowing that we're not competing, like we push each other, but we root for each other. So I have followed your suit, and each Newbery Medal winner, I then called to congratulate the way that you did for me. So thank you for showing me that.
You're welcome. Hey, is your Newbery Medal nearby?
You know what? I went to a school visit yesterday and took it to show because they were doing Newbery things, and it's in my bag. And I just thought that it's always up here with my Kirkus and Coretta Scott King. You have those, don't you?
Yeah, I've got. Well, no. See, Jerry has had the distinction of in a span of 1 year winning the Kirkus Prize, the Coretta Scott King Author Award, and the Newbery Medal at the same time. That's like a lot of kudos, my friend. You got me there.
Yeah.
What are you showing?
Kirkus.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's handmade. It's a book.
Kirkus also, I hate to put your money out there, but it's public knowledge, it's also a $50,000 prize.
Yeah, that came in handy.
Hopefully,
I
hopefully you bought like a writing class or something.
I use them all to buy your books.
Good,
Yeah.
very good, very good. But Jerry, we like to have a lot of fun. You're becoming one of my closest friends, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but it's happening. So let's just get serious for a second. And you're going to read to everyone. You're going to give them a sneak preview of the new book, which comes out April 4th,
Yeah.
which is called School Trip.
School Trip.
But Jerry, when you hear this hashtag read strong, why is it important that we read strong, whether it be in Florida, in Virginia, in Texas, but particularly where you are in Florida?
Yeah. You know what? Unlike you, when I was a kid, I hated to read. And my parents weren't necessarily book readers, magazine readers, newspaper readers. So I never saw myself. I didn't have, I know like your parents gave you books. They were like, here's Walter Dean Myers, here's this, here's that. So I was left to find that on my own. And my schools never provided me with that. I didn't have a librarian. And that's why whenever there's school cuts and they cut the librarian, I'm always like, I try to support however I can, because I know that, the librarians give the kids the books that can change their lives. You change the kids' lives, it changes the future, right? And I didn't have that. And so I did not read strong at all. I did not read strong. So reading to me was only for information, because I like comic books. My teachers thought that reading comics was silly. So early on, I was like, well, if it's fun, it's kind of illegal. I can't read, like I had to suffer. A real book made me suffer. What I would have given for the crossover, and Stunt Boy, Octopus Stew. I didn't have that. And I didn't relate to the Black characters I had seen. And the closest I came to relating to any character was Pip from Great Expectations, a little boy from England, 12-year-old boy from England. I'm like, I'm a 12-year-old boy from Harlem. How do I relate to him? But it at least showed me that if I did relate to a character, I would like the book more.
Right.
Right. Whether he was from England or not. And that's why sometimes when people say that they may not, I'm not going to buy this, like with School Trip, these kids go to Paris for a week. And I see some, because I read, I don't know if you read all your reviews.
Not anymore.
I do. And it's like, I don't know if the kids would be able to relate going to Paris. I'm like, but they could relate to a little wizard that rides around in a broom and casts spells and fights dragons. Like, I think, let the kids decide what they can relate to.
Right.
No, you're the conduit. Just give them the book and step back and let them decide.
And step back and let them decide, and watch how reading can make them stronger, whatever that strong means for them.
Right.
Right. Jerry, you and I were together for the first World Read Aloud Day in 2013, I want to say, which is 10 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
It was either 2013 or 2011. I can't remember, but we were together in Harlem, New York. We were with the founder of LitWorld and the creator of World Read Aloud Day, Pam Allen. And so this is a special sort of occasion. I'm glad you agreed to be a part of this. I felt like that it was important symbolically and substantively. You are one of the most distinguished writers in America, right after me. But without further ado, sharing a little bit from two of his books, his critically and best-selling graphic novels. It's my friend, for the most part, Jerry Craft. And Jerry, I will come back at the end and wrap it up. Have fun.
Okay, so thank you. So one of the things with my books, and I just want to share that I put so much of the family, because family, with me and my dad, mom growing up, and then me with my kids growing up, my sons. So I always like to put a lot of humor into it, even though I talk about race and class and other things. But at the base, it is family, respect for friends, because that is very important. So this is from Class Act, one of the first chapters. And it is basically just a conversation between Jordan Banks, who's 12 years old, and his dad, because Jordan is nervous going into his first day of school. So Washington Heights, Manhattan, New York City. Dad says, I'm gonna try to do voices to distinguish. Hey, Jay, you okay? Yeah, just thinking about starting second form. You know, Dad, 8th grade. You want to share? Well, I have to make a big decision at the end of the year. If the year goes great, then I won't want to leave RAD. That's his school, Riverdale Academy Day School. But if I don't leave RAD, I won't get to go to art school. And you know, it's still my dream to be an artist, Dad. We don't always get to live our dreams, Jordan. My dream was to be a sports writer. See? So you get it. Plus, I'm 13 now, and all the stuff I like is still so what, Jordan? I don't know, Dad. Still so kiddish? Like the silly stuff I'm always imagining or wishing that I was Batman. But Jordan, that's what makes you an artist. You have the rest of your life to be grown, son. Don't rush it. Besides, I still want to be Batman when I grow up. Thanks, Dad. But that's not all. I barely grew at all this summer. I'll bet my friends Drew and Liam are like 6 feet tall now. And on top of that is the worst thing of all, my body odor. I played ball with Kirk and Kenny all day, plus I didn't even shower tonight. Here, Dad, smell. Oh, wait a minute. What are you talking about, Jordan? You smell fine. That's my point, Dad. When do I get my big boy stink? What now? One day after sports last year, the locker room smelled so bad that Coach Roach had to go to the nurse. And the only one who didn't stink was me. Oh, well, cheer up, son. I'm sure that by the end of the year, you'll smell every bit as funky as all your friends. You're just saying that, Dad. Jordan, I have no idea what I'm saying. Now get some sleep. You'll want to be fresh in the morning. Dad, fresh as in not sleepy, not fresh smelling. Oh, thanks, Dad. So that is the first chapter of Class Act. And again, just that conversation between he and his dad and sometimes his mom and his grandpa are kind of like some of the most fun that I have when I'm writing this. So in the beginning of School Trip, which comes out on April 4th of this year, it is finally the class goes to Paris. So it's starting, I'm gonna read the cartoon and then I think maybe first chapter, we'll see. I've never done this before, so it's a treat for me. Here's Jordan's cartoon. He says, I really hope, but then again. As the final chapter of my junior high school life comes to an end, there's so much more I'm hoping for. Or am I? For example, I really hope that I get into art school, but I'd miss all my friends at RAD. But then again, it would be great to be around other artists and people who get me. But then again, that means I'd have to be the new kid all over again. Ugh. I really hope my parents start to let me decide what's best for me. But then again, does any 13-year-old really know what's best for them? I'd probably just eat sugar and candy and cereal for dinner. I really hope that my friends around my block realize that even though I go to a fancy private school, I'm still the same old Jordan Banks. But then again, being a new kid at RAD has kind of changed me into a new kid, Jordan 2.0. And you know, I kind of like him. I mean, me. But worst of all, I really hope to figure out who I am and what I really want. But then again, so that's Jordan not really knowing what he wants. So his mom and dad come into his room and his dad's holding an envelope. Now I have to do 3 voices, mom, dad, and Jordan. We'll see. Hey, Jay, you've got some important mail. Hurry and open it up, baby. The High School of Music, Art, and Mime. This could be my acceptance letter. Oh, or my rejection letter. I bet it's rejection. Wait, I don't want to put that negative thought out in the universe. Please let me get in. Please, 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 please. Boy, will you hurry up already? Okay, okay, Mom. I didn't want to rip it open in case I need this for my archives when I'm famous. But I guess I'll just put it out in my memory box for now because I don't actually have an archive. But this could be the beginning of my career as a famous artist. One day, this envelope could be worth a lot of money. Jordan, read the letter. Out loud, son. Oh, dear Jordan, it is with great pleasure that we offer you this letter of acceptance. I made it. I'm going to art school. Way to go, son. I'm proud of you. And Mom just goes, she's not so happy with that. All right, so that is part of chapter 1. And then I want to read you one of Jordan's cartoons because, and this is for you also, Kwame, since we travel a lot, I think that you will be able to relate to this again. Chapter 4, Airplane Etiquette, the customary manner of polite behavior. Hi, this is Jordan Banks. And if you're about to get on a plane like me, here are some tips to make it pleasant flight for everyone. If you normally use the bathroom a lot, maybe don't drink so much before and during the flight. And the passenger goes, excuse me again. Oh, third time he has to get up and we haven't even taken off yet. And if you know you do have to go to the bathroom a lot, then maybe don't choose a window seat. The same goes for eating. Oh, I really shouldn't have eaten that leftover cheesesteak for breakfast. I've got enough gas to fly this plane to the moon and back. Speaking of food, if you bring your own from home, please make sure it's not stinky. And the customer goes, egg salad and Limburger cheese, yum. And Jordan says to the flight attendant, can you deploy my oxygen mask, please? And if you're going to listen to music, please use headphones and at a normal level. And finally, parents, just because you can tune out your kids doesn't mean the rest of us can. Hey, Daddy, I'm going to count to 1,000,000. That's fine, son. No, it isn't. So there you have it. That is my first ever preview from School Trip, which comes out on April 4th. So thank you, Kwame.
Brilliant.
And to Pam Allen.
Brilliant. Wow, it's so funny. Dude, I forgot. How did I forget? You're just a funny guy. Jerry, how could anyone in there, I don't want to make a judgment.
Right.
Where are people coming from when they want to ban your book? I don't understand because it's so relatable. It's so funny. It's just so cool.
And that's the part that has been the most confusing to me is like sometimes I get email of being Marxist, fascist, consider, critical race theory. And I'm like, I sat down, like when I hear you talking about your family and you've always heard me talk about my family, like there's this like love and like you're so proud and that's what I want to put in there. And so how people can take it and just run with it. There's no drugs, no sex, no violence, no gangs, no cursing. I even got a letter where someone didn't like that I used OMG. So in the next book, I changed to oh my goodness, just to be like for everybody,
Right.
And, to think of it now, you and I have made history for being some of the few Black Newbery winners ever, and just Newbery winners in general. And sometimes the fact that I get more press for being banned than for these stickers here,
Right.
it's kind of sad. But what keeps me going is like I've seen you do school visits and the kids just lose their minds.
Right.
And I know that I get emails from teachers and parents like, my kid has never liked reading a book before, and he's read your book 6 times and it's dog-eared. And he related to it and he cried and he was so happy to see someone like that. And I think that the people who ban don't actually let their kids read the book. Like there's not a focus group. Like I've never gotten an email saying, my kid read this and is offended by it.
Mm,
You know, they will see, you know, strong characters, you know, like my characters and your characters.
right.
And somehow like that makes them nervous.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're dealing, it's the parents, it's the adults who are dealing
Yeah.
with whatever sort of issues or insecurities or whatever they're dealing with, and they try to pass on to the kids. And
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate thing. But I thought what you read was just, I feel like School Trip, I, I mean, I can't say I don't know how you did it, because I know how you did it, because you're pretty brilliant, but you topped. I feel like it's better than the other two. Like you didn't suffer from the sophomore or the junior, you know, slump. Like you did your thing in this third book. That's pretty amazing.
Oh, you know, we have to, because you never want to be seen as that one-hit wonder,
Ah,
you know. And I just think that when, again, great power comes great responsibility, but how many kids look up to, I saw that watching you, how many kids look
right.
up to you, and to think that I'm like getting some of that now, I just know I can't let them down. And that's why, you know, we're just always working. We had a conversation recently, like, you know, I think I need to rest. I was like, I don't know what resting is. Because even when you and I talk, we're just always throwing ideas back and forth,
Right.
you know. And I feel like, you know, I feel sorry for friends sometimes and family, where I'm like, because I kind of feel like we belong to the world and it's our duty to kind of share that, you know.
Right. And I think that's a great way to sum it up. We're passionate about what we do. We love it. And we also feel like it's our calling, it's our duty. We have a
Yeah.
responsibility to help children imagine a better world. And what better way to do that than to present these words and images that are going to inspire and engage and hopefully empower them to just be better human beings.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to create page turners. So we're not trying to just beat them over the head with lessons.
Right.
We want them to enjoy it.
Right. And so we need the teachers and the gatekeepers and the librarians and the parents out there to expose kids to people who are not just mirrors, but windows for them.
Yep.
And also to give a kid a book and say, wow, you know what? When you grow up, maybe you can go to Paris. You know, maybe you can do this. Maybe you can do something else, instead of just being in the box of like, we have to suffer in a gang, or we have to suffer, do this, or we have to, not that those aren't important books,
Right.
but we need to show the other side too, where it's like, okay, I can laugh with my friends. And,
Right.
you know, it's not always about reading and just feeling like the weight of the world, because sometimes I think with Black kids, we forget that they're kids because we just put so much on them, and then we grow them up so fast, and they're like, whoa, why is he so tough? Or why is she so this? I'm like, you didn't let them read, you know, they didn't have a Captain Underpants when they were kids. You just gave them, you know, the book about kids being prosecuted and
Right. And we've talked
challenged.
about this as it relates to slavery, you know,
Right.
and having just written The Door No Return, I certainly wrestled with that a lot. And so we know how important these stories are, but that weight is a lot. It's a lot to carry. And I think that's why it's important to have balance. And
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
that's what you bring. That's what you bring to this.
Right.
You bring a side. And I think that's why you've had so much success, Jerry. I mean, aside from just the artwork, you know, your work as an artist, it's that you brought this other narrative that is, you didn't invent. It's been there. It just hasn't been exposed. And I think on World Read Aloud Day 2023, you know, that's one thing we can take away from this, is that There are so many different stories, so many narratives, and they all matter, and they're all important, and they all work together to create who we are. And so that's why, we're doing this. I'm glad you did it. I know you're about to head off on a whirlwind tour. So you got packing to do, my friend.
I do. And so April 4th, big day for you as well. Can I bring that up?
April 4th, big day for both of us.
Yeah. So start out, you get school trip, you read that. And then that night, what can they do?
They can watch the crossover TV series on Disney Channel. And then on April 5th, you can watch it on Disney Plus. So I'm going to find out where you are on April 4th, Jerry. And I just might show up, sit in the back of the room, and try to take away a little bit of your thunder.
Okay, that's fine.
It's cool.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hashtag Read Strong, y'all. School trip out April 4th.